So in the next set of lectures, we will investigate how a superconductor interacts with magnetic fields. This topic is a very important topic and has variety of aspects associated with it. More importantly, they lead to a very fundamental and important understanding of superconductivity. So this is a very important topic and we will come back to it over and over again during the rest of the course. But for now, let me show you a very interesting example of how superconductors behave when placed in magnetic fields, and it leads to a very interesting phenomena, namely the phenomena of magnetic levitation. So this is a video which has been taken from the internet. Okay, you can go to YouTube and you will see many such videos which are related to levitating a magnet placed over a superconductor. So let me briefly explain before I show you the movie what does this experiment involve. This is not done by me, it's just taken from the internet, somebody has performed it. So it contains a thermocol container, which is this white cylindrical type of a holder, and in this holder is placed this cuboid shaped material which is a superconductor. And this material, this cuboid shaped material, is cooled with liquid nitrogen. So when you run the movie, you will see white colored vapor, water vapor appearing up, because it is the liquid nitrogen which is present around this, which is cooling the superconductor. It is actually condensing some vapors and it is giving rise to the vapors of liquid. It is giving rise to these vapors. So this superconductor is a high temperature superconductor whose transition temperature is of course not like mercury, which is 4.2 Kelvin. The transition temperature of this cuboid type of a material is this high temperature superconductor is about 90 Kelvin. And so if you use liquid nitrogen, you can cool it very easily. The boiling point of liquid nitrogen is about 77 Kelvin. So just by cooling it with liquid nitrogen, you can actually make this material superconducting, because its transition temperature is 90 Kelvin and liquid nitrogen is more easily available compared to liquid helium. So it makes this experiment, doing this experiment also reasonably easy. So you will see in this experiment that there is this magnet, which is this shiny colored object which is placed here, which is going to be placed on top of a superconductor, and the superconductor has already been cooled below its superconducting transition temperature. So let's see the experiment, what is done in this experiment. So let me run this experiment or run this video. So here the magnet is being placed on top of the superconductor, and what you see is that the magnet is floating on top of the superconductor. This is the phenomena of levitation, and even if the person pushes the magnet, it remains in place. Let me show the video once again. So here is the superconductor which is placed in liquid nitrogen. It is cooled below its transition temperature, and when you place the magnet on top of this superconducting material, it starts levitating, it starts floating. You see that even if he presses it close, it does not fall on top of the superconductor. The magnet keeps on floating on top of the superconductor and it actually remains in place. So there are various different things going on in this phenomena which you see here. I will come back to it much later when I discuss other aspects of magnetic fields interacting with type 2 superconductors. But for now, I will go into one aspect of it which partially explains this experiment. It does not explain all the aspects, namely it does not explain why when he pushes the magnet it still comes back into place, but at least part of the floating aspects can be explained using a concept which is called as the Meissner effect, and that is going to be my next topic of discussion. How does the Meissner effect give rise to this phenomena of levitation or partially explain the phenomena of levitation. We will get into that, and the Meissner effect leads to many important aspects of superconductivity which we will begin to understand, and this forms the part of beginning of our discussion of an important aspect of superconductivity, namely how do superconductors interact with magnetic fields. So if you recall, superconductivity, when it was discovered, was basically an electrical phenomena, namely it is an R is equal to 0 state, okay, of the material. So what is the phenomena of superconductivity? That before, above the critical transition temperature, the material has finite resistance, and below the transition temperature its resistance abruptly becomes very low, below any measurable limits. So there is a definite transition in the conducting state of the material. Okay, there is a sudden transformation in the conducting state of the material. At Tc, there is a very rapid drop in the resistance or the resistivity of the material, or alternatively you might say that the conductivity of the material becomes very high below the superconducting transition temperature. So if that is the case, then one may ask that is the superconducting transition corresponding to the material actually transforming from a simple ordinary metal into a perfectly conducting ideal conductor? Is that the definition of a superconductor? That means when the material becomes superconducting, it becomes a perfect conductor. What is a perfect conductor? A perfect conductor is a material which has no resistance. The electrons which are flowing through the material do not experience any resistance. They do not undergo any collisions. There is nothing colliding in the system. So the electrons are free to move continuously. So there is no resistance inside the material. Is that what is happening when the material becomes a perfect when the material becomes superconducting? Is it becoming an ideal conductor, a perfect conductor? So that is the typical question that was asked. Okay. So is it that you are just going from a normal metal into a perfect conductor? Is that superconductivity? Or is there something else which is happening in the system, something else which is very different in the system, that it is just not the metal becoming a finite resistance metal into a zero resistance metal, namely a perfect ideal conductor? It is still a metal, but it is just changing its resistance from R is equal to finite to a R is equal to 0 state, whereas it still remains like a it still has the normal metal properties. Okay, or is the properties of the metal fundamentally completely changing when it goes into the superconducting state? And the distinction of this and the resolution of this question was given by this particular experiment, which is the Meissner effect, which was shown by the Meissner effect. This particular effect actually illustrated what is the difference between normal conventional what is the difference between a perfect conductor and a superconductor. Okay, so let's get into that. Okay, so first let us see what would happen in a perfect conductor. Okay, so let us first take this, that you take a metal. Okay, as shown here, you have a metal. Okay, you have this metal, and let us so I shouldn't have colored it. I should sorry. So let us actually first take this metal and first cool it. Okay, now if it becomes, if superconductivity, so T is less than Tc. Okay, if the metal is, I'm sorry, this is, so if the metal and going from here to here is actually becoming an ideal conductor, a perfect conductor, then If you switch on a magnetic field, once it has become a perfect conductor below its superconducting transition temperature, if you switch on a magnetic field, what will happen? The ideal conductor will set up shielding currents all along its edges. So there will be shielding currents which will be set up along its edges, which will flow along the edges of the material. Okay, they will be circulating around the edges of the material, which will screen the magnetic field from within its interior. They will not allow the magnetic field to enter. This you know how a metal behaves. When you apply a magnetic field, it will set up shielding currents to prevent the change of flux inside the material. Okay, or if flux is present, it will prevent the flux from changing. So the currents will be set up accordingly to maintain this state. You know from electromagnetism. So if you switch on a magnetic field, all magnetic field will be shielded off from its interior. They will actually circulate around and go away. This is for a perfect ideal conductor. And if you switch off the magnetic field, then it will come back to a B is equal to 0 state. That means there is no flux inside the material. This is as far as a perfect ideal conductor is concerned. However, this same ideal conductor can be made to behave in a slightly different way. So you take this conductor and first apply before you cool it. So before cooling it, you take this conductor, simple normal conductor. It has not been cooled below its transition temperature, and you apply a magnetic field to it. Okay. Now from this point on, before you come to here, you cool down the sample. You take it below its transition temperature and say here the color change shows that it is becoming, say, a ideal conductor. So what will happen is that magnetic field before cooling was present. Now it has become an ideal conductor. Still magnetic field is present. Nothing should change. Okay. Now if you try to switch off the magnetic field, being an ideal conductor, it will set up shielding current so that it will prevent the change of flux in its interior. And it will hold the flux there. The shielding currents will actually flow in such a way so that the flux which was already present inside it will remain inside it, and these will be the magnetic fields which will be generated by those currents inside the material, which will trap the flux inside the material. So here B will not be equal to 0. So you can see that if superconductivity is a normal to an ideal conductor transformation, then depending on how you have cooled the material and applied the magnetic field, namely you can first cool below the superconducting transition and then apply a magnetic field, it will reach a B is equal to 0 state. If you cool the material, if you first apply the magnetic field and then cool the material and then make the magnetic field equal to 0, you will reach a different state. So depending on the path you have taken, it can reach two different states. There are two different states that the material will reach. One is equal to the ideal conductor can reach a state where the internal field inside the material is non-zero, or it can reach a state where the internal field is 0. So this is as far as an ideal conductor is concerned. So the question is that what happens in the material, and this is where Meissner did this experiment. Meissner and Robert Oschenfield showed that a superconductor behaves very, very differently compared to an ideal conductor. They basically did the same thing, that you can first cool it below Tc, take the superconductor first cool below Tc, apply a magnetic field and then switch off the magnetic field, or apply a magnetic field, cool below Tc, keep the field on and then switch off the magnetic field. Do they reach these two different states where B is different? So so an ideal conductor, as I said, would reach these two different states. What happens to a superconductor? So in a superconductor, Meissner showed that you take the material T greater than Tc. This is the material at T greater than Tc. sorry, not T less than Tc. This is the material when T is greater than Tc, and you cool it. Okay, you cool it, you switch on the magnetic field. Okay, and after switching off the magnetic field, if you switch off the magnetic field, you reach this state. Okay, I am just showing you this behavior because it's not been completed. So so what you do is you cool the superconductor, just like here you had cooled it. Okay, gone below Tc, T less than Tc, and then switch on a magnetic field. The magnetic field they found was removed from the material. Inside the material there was no magnetic field, and then when you switched off the external field, when the magnetic field was off, it went to this state. Now you do the other path which you did here. The path which was taken earlier, the lower path, is that you first switch on the magnetic field before cooling it. So T is still greater than Tc. You apply the magnetic field to the normal material. It is not a superconductor. Okay, and here as T becomes less than Tc, what you find is that whereas here the magnetic field in an ideal conductor, the magnetic field will be still present inside the superconductor. Whether you go through this path or you go through this path, they found that the magnetic field is always expelled from within the interior of the superconductor, irrespective of whether you have applied the field before cooling or you have applied the field after cooling. The moment the material becomes superconducting, the natural state of the superconductor is to expel all magnetic flux from within its interior. And so therefore, irrespective of what path you take, when you make the magnetic field equal to 0, it will actually reach this state where B is equal to 0 inside the metal. Once it gets into the superconducting state, the material behaves like a perfect diamagnet. What is a perfect diamagnet? A perfect diamagnet is a material which expels all magnetic field from within its interior. So irrespective of what path you have taken, whether you have cooled the superconductor and then applied a magnetic field, or applied a magnetic field and then cooled it into the superconducting state, irrespective of the path taken, the superconductor always expels all magnetic field from within its interior and reaches a B is equal to 0 state. This is completely different from that of an ideal metal, where depending on the path taken, it can either reach a state where B is equal to 0 or it can reach a state where B is not equal to 0, depending on how you have applied the magnetic field, either below Tc or above Tc. Depending on that situation, it can reach different states, but here the system can reach a unique state irrespective of the path taken, and this shows that the superconducting transition is a transition of the material into a state which is completely different from that of an ideal conductor. Furthermore, it is a thermodynamic state because irrespective of what path you take, it reaches one single unique state. And the unique state is a state where all magnetic flux is expelled from interior of the sample. So this shows that the superconducting transition is a true thermodynamic transition in the system, where the electronic state of the system is doing something different. It is going into a completely different phase because it behaves no longer like a ordinary conductor or an ideal conductor, but it is behaving completely differently. Irrespective of the path taken, it is expelling all magnetic flux from within its interior. And this is the importance of the Meissner phase. This is the true test of superconductivity. If you want to test if a material is superconducting, do the Meissner effect. R is equal to 0 or R is going very low is not the true test of superconductivity. The true test of superconductivity is to show that there is a Meissner signal associated with the system. Namely, it goes into a perfect diamagnetic state. And we will discuss this a little bit in more details in the next